I'm Bobby Green. I'm co-owner and designer at 1933 Group, and we are at the Formosa Cafe. And I want to show you around some of the really fun, unique stories and history about this place. This place was built in 1939. It was owned by Jimmy Bernstein and Lem Quan. Lem was a Chinese chef, and so he brought his kind of influence to the place back in the day. But the place was mostly famous for its celebrity hangout, because we're directly across the street from what was originally Pickford Fairbanks, Charlie Chaplin studio, became United Artists, it became Goldwyn, a whole bunch of studios. And so all through the years, all the celebrities from there would hang out here, and the place just became known as the place where celebrities were hanging out. But besides celebrities, there were also famous mobsters, because back in the 40s, LA was riddled with crime, organized crime. We got rid of it, back in the 50s and 60s, but before that, we had a lot of mobsters. Now, this particular booth we're looking at now, this was Bugsy Siegel's booth. And if you don't know Bugsy Siegel, he's the guy who started Las Vegas. It was his dream. He created the casino out there, and then later was assassinated in the late 40s, sadly. But before that, he kind of ran his operations out of here, whatever operations they were. But one of the neat features is the safe that you're going to see here in the floor. Now, Bugsy Siegel had this floor safe installed. This was one of his favorite booths. And the reason he had this installed was people who had to bring him drops of cash. They could come in at night, lift the cover, slip the money in, and then close it up. And then Bugsy could come back the next day and pull it out. That way there's never an exchange of money. He couldn't get busted for that. We were able to collect lots of other antiques, lots of other artifacts of old Los Angeles, and bring it back here. One of the main elements of this is our back bar. There was a bar in Chinatown from the 30s and closed in the 90s during the Northridge earthquake. It condemned the building and they closed it. It was called the Emu Bar. And I had heard years ago about a woman who had the old bar from Emu. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but fast forward to now when we were doing the Formosa, I thought, I'm going to look that woman up and see if I can, she still has that bar. And sure enough, she did. And it was in her house. And so I went and talked to her, and I told her, what I was doing here at the Formosa and the restoration we were doing. And so she loved that idea so much of adding this bar that we have here to the Formosa, and all these people getting to see and enjoy it again. So she was able to sell it to me. And so happily we brought it in and put it back very much the way it was in Chinatown all those years. And it's such a wonderful thing to tell the story, of the Chinese American themed bars and restaurants that used to be in Los Angeles. And this is truly one of the last ones left.
It took a long time to process. I mean, this has been like a year in the making. Us in 1933 have been talking about this project for, since about this time last year. And you really can't really fathom the whole project until you're sitting down when it's done. Because, you hear about like a full restoration and like all the details, but until you come and see it, it's really, really like impressive. It's beyond impressive. It's like being in a movie. I was just here last week and eating, and I just felt like I was on stage or, in a feature film. And it's really like an experience, not just about food and drinks. It's about like, being transported to a time where things were a lot simpler. So most of the menu was chosen by the Formosa group in 1933. They came in for a tasting. They love the dumplings. Our dumplings are special because, we make it with squid ink on the outside. There's a seafood and pork broth in the inside, and it's really juicy, tender, and the flavor is really, really spot on. Yeah, so we wanted to stay true to ourselves and continue. We always pay homage to the past, but we always, try to put little, spins and push the food forward. Obviously, we want to be relevant and up current with what's going on with the, Asian dining scene in LA. So definitely, I think this is representative. You won't find egg foo young, but you'll find a really, really authentic version of, like an old school recipe like dan dan mian. Yeah.
So that's the tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much. Please come in.